everybody, my name's Cheri. Welcome to my Stampin' Up studio. So today is camp day here in my world. So we have real life people with real life stamping going on at my house. So my morning session's finished and I have an evening session this afternoon or tonight. Here's the honest truth. I was working on all of the mathematics required to start ordering all of this stuff for the giant Try It class that's coming up. And the math just hurts my brain. So I decided I would stamp just one quick little card for you. But most of my, well, not most of my stuff because I have a lot of stuff. But my die cutting machines and my paper cutter, that stuff's all downstairs for them to use. So I'm going to do a card for you out of this new annual catalog that doesn't use any die cutting. So if you don't have a die cut machine, or if you take your stuff on the road, or sometimes you just like to go old school, this is the card for you. So if you don't have a copy of this yet, let me know. I'd be happy to send you one if you're in the US. There's a couple of great specials going on this month in Stampin' Up World. One, you can join my team. And if you join my team, then you get you spend $99 plus tax and you get $155. There's no shipping or anything. And you just pick $155 of whatever you want. So that's going on. And if you're a member of my team and you like taking my classes, then my team members get all of my video portions of the class for free. It's just a perk of being on my team. There's a lot of other perks too, but that's everybody's favorite. Then there is a special that if you spend $250 or you collect orders, like if there's you and your sister, your girlfriend, and you just want to put some orders together, the hostess benefits have an additional $25 added at $250. So at $250, you get about $50. It goes up as your orders are higher. So both of those are going on. And then today we started, if you've never subscribed to Paper Pumpkin before, you can try it for $5, just $5. And it costs more than that to ship the box. I know, because I ship them often. So you can go to my website and I'll have the little information there for you to sign up. It's while supplies last. So when they're gone, they're gone. But you'll get next month's for just $5. And so you can kind of see what it's like, see if you'd like to have craft supplies show up in your mailbox once a month. It's fabulous. So here are a couple of cards that I've done from the new catalog that I don't want you to have missed. This is the one that just posted. Actually, these are both camp cards. I told you that when I started creating them, though. Whatever I created was going straight into the bucket for camp projects. So these are both ones they've worked on today at camp and will complete this evening. So here is Art in Bloom. And this set, I don't want you to miss it in the catalog, because if you love this embossing folder, which is beautiful, you can only get it by purchasing it with the bundle. So that's a kind of a new thing. It's kind of like the seashell stamps that we have. And then this one, I don't want you to miss these dies because they don't have a stamp set. So they're just some really beautiful dies. And I've just used a fraction of them on this card. And they're both two different ways to start using our pastels, because we have pastels again. So I'll be showing you more ways to use the pastels as well, but this is just two different methods to color them. They're super inexpensive. Some of you I know are quite worried about the fact of the way that I've been using them. I'm just gonna buy two sets. So one I can always get wet, and the other one I'll use more for drawing and taking it out, because a lot of other people use my stuff too. So I buy my stuff to use it and to use it up. So my happiest thing is sometimes, like, if I use a full thing of glue, or I color so long with the blend that it finally dries up, because I buy my things because I love them and I want them to be used. And I also kind of like the chalks when they look chalky and it looks like, oh, an artist might live here. Because, you know, sometimes I feel like we cheat in our art. Not really, but I just feel like I'm not, you know, a Monet or anything. So for today's project, because I don't have a die cut machine, I thought, what can I do? Because I can't use an embossing folder. I can't cut anything. So I pulled these out. These are new. They're the paper lattice. You get 10 of them in a package. They're really pretty. So you can see they remind me of balsa wood, but obviously a much thinner balsa wood, thicker than paper. You can see it has some substance to it, but it's very, very lightweight. So I decided to use those. And then I looked at all my stamp sets, and most of them have dies because that's just the way it is. So there's a couple of them, though, upcoming for my summer retreat, which registration hasn't opened for that yet. But when it does, you'll be able to get all the stamp sets or pick the ones that you want. And there's two of them, this one and after the storm. Neither of those have dies that specifically go with them. So this didn't look like any kind of a seascape scene to me, so I went with Measure of Love. And today at camp, one of my campers brought me the cutest little white enamelware cup to decorate my kitchen. Because if you see my kitchen, it's kind of, well, it has a seafoam kind of green to it, but almost all of my stuff is white because I just really like white kitchen stuff. So that was easy to do with this card. So let's do it. Here's the thing, it doesn't take long, but you have to cut it out because, you know, no die cut. So this doesn't, since it doesn't have anything, the longest part of this card is the cutting out. I find cutting kind of therapeutic, so I don't mind to cut. And I also, we're getting ready to leave on vacation. And so sometimes when you grab stuff to take with you, you don't want to take a die cutting machine. And you know, when I started stamping a trillion years ago, we didn't have die cut machines. So everything you wanted, even if you wanted a circle, you had to cut it out. So just kind of my thing. I'm working over here, my last VIP video project for this month. So if you spent $50 with me in April, then you'll be part of my VIP video club for May. If you spend $50 in May, then you'll be in it in June. So I'm working on the May projects now. One of them's done. There's 2 videos. This is the second. These circles are fabulous. So it's kind of a window die, kind of a squirrel moment here, I guess. But when you cut this out, you get obviously 6 circles. When you see this VIP video card, you're gonna love it. It's so simple, but so cute. So there's 2 ways you can be in the video. I mean, spend $50 on my website and you're in. You get the supplies at $50, and then if you spend $200 in a month, you get supplies for both the cards. So this is the second card. So here we have the little scales, and we have this cute little bowl. And then you need the tiny little, dial. What's it called? I don't know. The measuring thing for the scale. I'm at a loss for words at that at the moment. It'll come to me. So I've got those 2. And then I went with, I moved them, some kind of farmhouse looking colors because I thought this color combination was kind of farmhousey. So cherry cobbler. It was really hard to figure out what color to make my cherries when we have cherry cobbler. I also feel like I have a lot of table space because there are no die cutting anythings up here on my table or any paper cutting stuff, and those usually encroach on my space. So these, since it's photopolymer, you just line it up. Now we have some cherries. And then there's also some leaves. So for that, I went with one of the new In Colors, Soft Succulent. This is kind of the color of my kitchen. And my kitchen used to be red and yellow. So, you know, we're covering both my kitchen now and my kitchen a long time ago. And these are just the little cherry stems, and they go on top. There's not really a right way or a wrong way. Just kind of get them on there. Isn't that cute? So that's all of the stamping for this part. And I'm gonna cut these out. And I will fast forward this part of the video so you don't have to watch me cut them, but I'm literally just going to cut them out. A skill we all learned back in kindergarten, right? Oops. Okay, so I've cut those out super fast. You can see with the cherries, I just kind of did a little loopy at the top. Now this is my very favorite part of doing these. We're gonna color these in. Now I don't know if I said, this is shimmery white cardstock. So it's not quite white, not quite vanilla, and it's my favorite color of our neutrals. And I wanna give it just a little bit of shading. So if you know, like the enamelware that's kind of in style right now, kind of a trendy thing, kind of has that black and shiny white. So I'm just gonna add a strip of, this is the light black. If you do the dark black on it, it's gonna be really dark. So that's our light black blend. And then this is our light smoky slate. So this would be the lightest gray that we have. And I'm just gonna use this. Actually, I'm gonna use my brush tip. And I'm just gonna add a tiny bit of color where there might be some shading. And then again over here. All going the same direction. So if the light was hitting it, it would all be going that way. You could do the other side if you wanted. And then this is our blend, our color lifter blend. And I'm just gonna take it and just kind of smear this so it lightens up and those lines kind of disappear. Just kind of put this on here. It makes your paper look a little bit darker at first because the paper's wet, because the marker's wet. But it just dries, and then this gives it a nice shading. So it's not just perfectly white. This is a great technique to, if your blends, if you tend to bleed with them outside the lines, then practice doing some shading on something that gets cut out, because if it bleeds, you can go right up next to your line and take care of it. But you always have to remember with blends to work in, because it does bleed. So you want enough room on that side that it can go over there. But you can see those gray things just disappear. Get this one a little bit more. And then it just kind of looks like shading. Now we have, me and some of my friends in the past have colored some of these so heavily that you can get them to look like the blue kind of enamel, or you know, the red, the one that has all the little flicks in it. So now I'm going to take my scale and my little, still don't remember what it's called. Y'all can tell me, but you know, it's way past the time, and usually by then I've thought about it by the time this posts. The dial, it's not a dial, is it? This is our take your pick tool. I'm just gonna poke a hole in these so they have the holes. And then we have new brads. Now my model card, I used black because I wanted it to kind of white to match the little thing that I don't know what it's called. This one I'm going to use white so you can kind of see it. And there's nothing actually white on the card, so it will be a little bit of a highlight of white. Take that out. And these come in round and squares, round and square brads, because we have a couple of spinny things in the catalog this year. And about the time that we didn't have a die cutting machine, we used to have brads, so it's kind of a little retro, as this card is. The card's a little retro. So just put this on here, and now we have a little spinny, so you can measure however much you think your cherries weigh. If it's somebody's birthday and I was giving this to them as a card and they happen to have a single, like if their birthday was on the 5th, I might dial it down there. But otherwise it's just on there, and it has a little bit of movement to it. And usually if you take these and just kind of spin it yourself a little bit before you stick it to the card, make sure it's not stuck on anything on the back of here. Now the next thing I'm gonna do now, which if you were doing this at home, you wouldn't have to do it now, but because I'm about ready to make it really wet, I'm gonna go ahead and stick this on. Now this is the edge of our dimensionals. I'm gonna stick it right here, because I don't want whatever you're sticking on to glue your card together or glue this to the card. See, if I had it there, you don't want it to hinder this movement. So this way, those scraps are just perfect to fit right there. Now I'm gonna take our fine tip glue. And again, back in the day when we didn't have a die cutting machine, we used to have Crystal Effects. And this is a very similar thing to Crystal Effects because it's a glue that doesn't dry sticky, and it has this great little applicator tip. So I'm gonna be really careful when I add it to my cherries because I want my cherries to shine, but this cherry ink will bleed. So I'm just gonna add little bits on top of each cherry, just so they're nice and shiny cherries. If you get a bubble, just try to pop it. I have a couple of bubbles on my other one. I'm not really worried about it. They will, if they dry up, then when it's all, like that, when it's all the way dry, you can just push it down with your finger. So just add a little bit. My leaves don't need to be shiny, so I'm only gonna do it here on the cherries. And then wipe this off, because if it touched anywhere, it might have a little bit of red. Now we're just gonna fill these in to create our enamelware look. You can do it as thick as you want. You just have to remember the thicker it is, the longer it will take for it to dry. I have done nothing in between the time of doing my other one and getting my camera hooked up. That's all I've done. So that's the elapsed time from me finishing the other one, and we're probably at about 10 minutes now. So now we have a nice shiny little bowl. That is a big one. Let me see if I can, sometimes, there we go. The first little glob that comes out can make a bubble. And I've had this liquid glue for a very long time. I have several jars of it, but this is the one that sits on my desk and I don't use it very often. Now on this, I found if you held right here, it's the perfect place to hold. And again, I'm just gonna add some just so it's shiny. And it gives that illusion of being enamelware. I didn't do the dial because again, I wanted nothing to hinder this spinning movement. And plus, on a scale that you might have in your kitchen, the face of it probably isn't shiny. It's probably just the actual scale, especially if it's a retro one. Just add this on here. Again, I'm trying to get it thick enough that it's shiny, but not so thick that it's gonna take forever to dry. But we have done things in the past, especially if you're doing a Christmas thing or something and you want it to be super shiny, just put a ton on it and just set it aside for it to dry. So there's those. And then if you haven't used these before, they have this great little needle in here. So when you attach it on, which I don't know if I can do it so you can see it, I'll show you. Then you push this on and your glue is never, you know how it dries on the inside of a tip? It doesn't do that because it's got a needle already in it. So we've got these. Now the nice thing is I don't need any other adhesive to stick this on. So I'm just gonna lay this right in the glue. So where you want your cherries to sit on your scale, just kind of set them on there. And there's enough glue on it that it doesn't have to press down to hold it. So we'll set that aside just for a second. On my other one, I also attached the dial while it was wet. So now we're gonna take our vanilla cardstock. There's some really cute sayings in this little set. I really wanted the one that said our friendship tips the scale. So I'm gonna put that one on the inside because it doesn't fit. I didn't wanna cover up any of the lattice because it's beautiful. So I went with you more than measure up because that fit my design, and then we can put the other one on the inside. So just stamp this in black. And it has to go right down here at the bottom so everything else will fit on our card. So there's that. And then to adhere our lattice, obviously there's not a lot to work with. You have your fine tip glue out, so you could easily, that was what I started to do, just use it on these dots, and this holds really, really well. So that's an option. I just laid this on here, and then I know that I want my scale to go here, so it's gonna get covered up. And then I pulled on it, and that was plenty to hold it. So just add that adhesive there. Put this on here. You can see it's not going anywhere. I pulled on it and there's plenty of adhesive to hold it. So just make sure as much as this part, because there's not a whole lot actually to stick it to the card. You're working with a very limited amount of space. Let me get this again. And then just pull this one piece off. Remember, we put this one piece of dimensional scrap back here. And then just gently lay it on your card. And don't press down where that is. I'm just gonna leave it there because mine's still kind of wet. Because this time I knew what I was doing, so it went a lot faster. So here's this one, and then here's the one that's just been sitting. It kind of solidifies. You can see there's a few little bubbles in there, but a lot of enamelware has that. So you wouldn't want to push anything in it now, but it's touch dry. I know when we used to use Crystal Effects at camp, it was always the card you set aside because you want to give it a good couple of hours before you put it in an envelope. It would probably glue itself to the envelope, especially it's muggy here today. It's getting ready to rain. In the winter, it would dry faster. But I just set it aside so this is nice and hard and dry, and I'll take some close-up pictures of it. Probably not when the blog post goes because I want to try to get this up tonight or in the morning. If I get it up in the morning, I might have time. But you can see it's nice and shiny. Super pretty, so very cute, very minimal supplies. We had some glue, we had some basic colored markers, 2 stamp pad colors. I mean, really, if you are just starting out, this is a great set that you can do. I could have stamped the inside of my bowl with colors. You can color the cupcakes, you can cut pieces apart. It's a great little starter set. I like sets that are a little bit different. And this fits that bill. So everybody have a great weekend. Remember, you can sign up for Paper Pumpkin for $5. You can join my team and we have so much fun. Or you can purchase $250 and get an additional hostess dollars free from Stampin' Up. And I always have thank you gifts each and every month. So go to my website or click down below the video and you can see what my thank you gifts are for this month. Everybody have a great weekend and a happy Mother's Day. Bye.